memorabilia, available.
Right.
It's in our store now. Again,
Okay.
first come, first serve.
And that's like you buy it, not bid it there?
That's correct.
Right.
At that point, it will be, direct purchase.
And what's the potential of sales on this? Do you have a figure that you're trying to reach, or with something of this magnitude? How much money could something like this bring in?
I honestly don't know. That is so hard for me to say. And the reason I say that is there's never been a comparable auction of Van Halen memorabilia, done in the past. So, you can say, well, if you have a big collection of, let's say, Elvis memorabilia or Beatles memorabilia or even, whatever, Kiss memorabilia, then I could probably predict that with some more precision.
Right.
In this case, it's like, well, I don't know.
Right,
So it's very hard to say, and that's the same in terms of percentage. I mean, it's easy for me to say, well, I hope that 100% sells and then we make $1 million.
Right.
But, that based on nothing.
Right.
So
okay.
All I can say is that the most important thing is the percentage. I'd rather sell every single piece, even if it means for the opening bid price, so to speak, than maybe just selling half.
Right.
Even though those pieces may get, more money. Because, again, I think what drives us, to a large degree is our desire, Noel's desire, for everybody to be able to have a piece, and it's because you're really buying more than just a piece of memorabilia. The fact that it comes from Noel Monk, every single piece or every single lot comes with a certificate of authenticity that is signed by Noel.
Right.
It's not like, hey, look at me, I got this Van Halen itinerary. No, you're not. You have the Van Halen itinerary that was owned by Noel Monk.
Right.
Or, hey, I got this great post or this great T-shirt. Well, it's more than that.
Right.
There's an element of prestige, to every single lot.
Sure.
And it doesn't mean that immediately has to translate in it being expensive. No, I mean, we purposely try to aim at every level when we do an auction. We have plenty of lots that start between $25 and $50.
Right.
Because we do realize that there's a large group of diehard fans, diehard collectors that are just as important as anyone else, but for whatever reason, they may only be able to spend $100.
Right.
Well, it's important for us that everybody feels welcome. This is not an elitist type auction that if you cannot spend at least $1,000, you're not welcome.
Right.
Absolutely not.
Right.
So everybody should feel invited. Everybody is welcome. There's literally something for everyone.
That's sort of the low end. What would be the high end of prices where you start from?
Well, the pieces at the higher end are going to be the record awards.
They would start at what? Like what?
I think, and I do this top of my head because I really don't have the list in front of me, but I think that most of the record awards start at around $1,000.
Okay.
We have quite a few collections of original negatives, but also like the Helmut Newton photos.
Right.
I mean, there's plenty, of photos and film material that starts at, let's say, $100, but, like the Helmut Newton photos, I think probably the most expensive start at $2,500.
Okay.
Which one could argue is an enormous amount of money, but you're buying a Helmut Newton photo.
Sure.
Again, everyone can do their own research and realize that even at that price, it's still well below the average value.
That's true.
So
that's true.
The most expensive piece, and I do realize that it is expensive, but it's extremely special. But David Byrd did design quite a bit of things for Van Halen, predominantly in the 80s. David Byrd did, for instance, the 1981 Fair Warning tour program. He did some of the T-shirts. He did a bunch of posters, etc. And that's because Noel and David knew each other, literally going back to the Fillmore days. Noel always loved him as an artist. He, and Byrd has done phenomenal pieces for Hendrix and the Stones and Janis Joplin and you name it. So it was kind of prestigious, that Van Halen got to the point where they could afford the high-end photographers and the higher-end producers and also the higher-end artists.
Right.
So the 1981 Fair Warning tour program done by David Byrd, we have all the original layouts for all the pages. And we decided to keep that together because the book is basically 20 pages, but these original pieces, these layouts are 2 pages at a sheet. So we have 10 sheets. And first we thought like, well, should we offer them individually? But then we said, no, this is so unique because this is truly one of a kind that we want to keep this together. So we decided to keep the whole tour program, so to speak, together. It's the 10 sheets that you would need to basically produce the book. The opening bid price is $10,000, which is, I recognize, a lot of money, but we're now talking about original artwork. I will say that is truly the most expensive piece. People will find a number of lots that are priced between, let's say, $1,000 and $2,500. That's kind of the higher end group. As I said, you're going to find a lot of lots, between $50 and $100, some even less than $50. You're going to find a whole range of items between, let's say, $100 and $500. And then it gets a little smaller. There's a number of things between 500 and 1,000, and 1,000 and 2,500, but that's kind of where it tops out. And as I said, we purposely wanted to keep it at those levels because I think that those are still very reasonable for what you get, but also leave enough room that if there's multiple people that want to fight over it, which we hope, of course, is going to happen, and that there's, room left. But we definitely have, a lot of original art pieces that are really great, original art layout for advertising or album covers or tour programs, and again, just fascinating pieces.
Absolutely. Well, This has been fascinating to talk with you. We wish you the best of luck with this. So the preview week starts September 26th?
Correct.
Okay, and people can just view then, and it goes live October 12th, and it will run all the way through October 21st.
That's correct.
Okay, and that's 24 hours a day. People can go on at any time. It's online at BackstageAuctions.com, and their Facebook is Facebook.com/Backstage Auctions. We want to thank you so much for coming on and explaining this to us. You do not have to be a millionaire to participate in this. I know a lot of people get nervous about auctions because they feel like, it's the people with the paddles at Christie's and stuff like that. But this is something that everybody can participate in on many different levels. Go in, check it out. There's such cool stuff in there. This is like almost a museum exhibit, this whole thing. You could almost take the whole auction and put it in a Van Halen Rock and Roll Hall of Fame exhibit. That's how cool this stuff is. It's not just typical merch from years ago. This is real, authentic, behind-the-scenes stuff. So we want everybody to check that out. Again, BackstageAuctions.com. Thank you so much for spending some time with us and letting us know exactly how this all operates.
Absolutely. And it was a pleasure and a privilege to get the opportunity to talk about it. Thank you for giving us that shot. And, thank you to your listeners. I appreciate everybody's time. And as I said, it doesn't cost a penny to come and check it out. And I encourage everybody to do that. So again, thank you.
I always knew what I wanted to do. When I was 9 years old, I got my first radio from Uncle Dave. And I put it on, and it was Ray Charles singing Crying Time Again, and I just knew I had to be on the radio. I listen to the radio constantly, but there's no one specific band or artist who I want to be like him. You can innovate. It's better to steal. And people say, well, you can't steal. That's no good. That's no way to make art. Nonsense, man. Inspiration doesn't come from nowhere. You don't lay in a dark black room and suddenly a burst of light and the hand of the Lord comes out and says, here, have a song. It doesn't happen like that. You have to steal it from somebody, and you change this, you change that, you change that. If it was good enough for Beethoven, it's good enough for me.
Hi, I'm Jackie Martling. My brand new autobiography, The Joke Man, Bow to Stern, is being released. Go to JackieTheJokeman.com. Great holiday gifts, easy to wrap. I guarantee you are going to love this book.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Damon Johnson from Brother Kane and Black Star Riders, and you are listening to Dave and Dave Unchained. Crank it up.
Need a laugh? Check out the Funny How Comedy Podcast, which focuses on upbeat conversations with legendary comedians. It's free on Spreaker and iTunes. Check us out on Facebook at Funny How Comedy Podcast, on Twitter at Funny How Podcast, on Instagram at Funny How Comedy Podcast, or email us at funnyhowcomedypodcast@gmail.com.
I never imagined anything else. That was always my philosophy. I'm going to do exactly as I please, exactly as I want. And the same thing for the rest of the band. So it's been a steady continuum. It builds, and it's not a goal-oriented kind of thing. Van Halen has no goals. There's no pot of gold for us at the end of the rainbow. We're just here to ride the rainbow. And you're invited, but it's like, it's my rainbow, baby. And we're just going to ride it till we're out of gas, and then we'll leave it. We'll come back a week later. Maybe somebody's living in the car.
Well, here we are again with one of our all-time favorite guests. You know him, you love him. He is the one-of-a-kind Noel Monk, the former manager of Van Halen from 1978 to 1985, the most crucial years of the band's career. And Noel, thanks so much for coming back.
It's a pleasure. You guys are like being home.
Well, Noel has a very special reason for being on. Last time we spoke to him about the 40th anniversary of the band, that was back in February, 6 months ago. 6 months prior to that, we talked about his book, Running with the Devil. And that book is doing well and has gone all over the world, and fans are eating it up like pudding. It's being translated into multiple languages. It's been a great success, so congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And now Noel has something that is so unique for Van Halen fans. I would say this is probably one of the, if not the most unique thing that Van Halen fans have ever been giving. So what Noel is doing is, like I said earlier in the conversation, he was the former manager of Van Halen from 1978 to 1985. Put that together with the fact that Noel is a meticulous guy who is also a self-proclaimed pack rat. So Noel, that's right. You put that together, and Noel has a absolutely cavalcade amount of Van Halen material. Now, what does that mean? He doesn't have just flats of the album covers and t-shirts and stuff like that. Noel has unique, one-of-a-kind items that he's putting into a massive, when I say massive, I mean huge auction that he's doing with Backstage Auctions, which is located at BackstageAuctions.com, and on Facebook, it's Facebook.com/BackstageAuctions, and he is doing a massive, one-time only auction of all his rock and roll memorabilia. Now, Noel has been in the business for many, many years. It's about as long as Dave and I have been alive. But he's only 36, which is incredible. He made a deal with the devil. That's why he's so young and full of energy. In that lot, there is a ton of Van Halen material. And we are going to go through that tonight, and Noel's going to talk to us about it. There's also other stuff in there with the Sex Pistols. Noel was the former manager of the Sex Pistols. He worked with them for a time, and he wrote a book on it, of course. He also had worked with Janis Joplin and all kinds of other people in the industry. But we are going to focus on his Van Halen auction. So, Noel, we wanted to start off by asking you, what made you decide to sell all this stuff, and why now?
Why not now? I have been able to enjoy a multitude of things that I got during my career. Half of it is Van Halen stuff. And I've enjoyed it, and now it's time for the fans to enjoy it. I have left myself one framed picture of VH where they put an ad in Billboard announcing I was their manager in the beginning of 79. The rest is going to you. And authenticity is not a problem. It came from me. And I want you to enjoy it. We have just so much time in this life, and being able to do that for probably the best fans I ever dealt with. You guys have been wonderful. So have the people who are not necessarily fans, but who have enjoyed my book and my books. and have told me so. And, you know, you've been up at 2 in the morning when I'm talking to you on Instagram.
Right.
And I had a ball. I must thank Dave and Dave. They didn't just do an interview. They became friends.